On the Newshour Debate tonight, Meenakshi Lekhi is taking on Rajeev Gowda of the Congress Party, and Rahul Narvekar of the Shiv Sena is taking on Devesh Chandra Thakur of the JDU and T Rama Rao. T Rama Rao, TRS Leader, is joining us from Hyderabad. So we have good representation of regional parties and national parties. 3 regional parties, 2 national parties. That's the way it is nowadays, isn't it? I mean, it's more regional parties than national parties, and it's good we have that kind of representation of the Newshour tonight.
Very healthy for democracy.
What's not healthy for democracy is the language that all of you are using. For example, Meenakshi Lekhi, one of the most erudite BJP leaders, a well-known spokesperson who usually measures her words well, on October 15 this year, speaking to Times Now, Meenakshi Lekhi refers to Manish Tiwari as a bhopu while reacting to Kapil Sibbal's claims about the BJP's army of Twitter operators for Narendra Modi. Now, Meenakshi Lekhi, you know, with your background and your education, I am sure that you have better words to use against your political opponents than bhopu. You know, this is exactly the kind of language that brings down the quality of the debate. I don't know whether you think your supporters even are going to support this kind of language.
Arnab, my reactions depend on how I'm treated. And if I'm treating with lies, and if bhopu word was used by Kapil Sibbal in the first place, and I just replaced the context. So I think you have to give credit to Mr. Kapil Sibbal for addressing us by this language.
No, so what is the message? What is the message that you are sending out? That we will.
The message. We will deal with you in the language you understand the best and you speak.
Then why do you complain when they use that language with you? You end up both sides.
No, we don't complain.
Of course you complain. You bitterly complain.
Listen. No. The mannerism and the polity as it should be, this is not the correct messaging. But when these people are lost on words as on content, they use and they cause distortions. And when they are causing distortions, I'm within my rights to rebut that in the language they understand.
Then you should give up your sensitivity and let's tell the people of India this is what you'll expect. To the Congress spokesperson Rajeev Gowda.
No.
You see,
this you should tell the people.
If you've decided,
you should tell the people who were objecting to Shehzada. This you should tell those people.
You can tell them directly yourself. They are here. Rajeev Gowda can hear you.
Abusive language, and Shehzada is not even abusive.
No, but you know the language. I'm not going to. I think both sides are crossing the line right now. For example, you know, Digvijay Singh describes Modi as a megalomaniac, psychopath, liar.
Right. And who is he?
He had also called him a faku earlier. No, megalomaniac, right. Psychopath.
So he becomes a pappu and he becomes subservient of a pappu.
Megalomaniac, psychopath, liar, faku,
Hitler, Bichu, Saap, Nag, मौत का सौदागर, मौत के सौदागर तो सारे बैठे हुए हैं जिनके हाथ क्या खानदान की हिस्ट्री खून में रंगी हुई है.
And also Bhamasur, you missed that out. Bhamasur. Jairam Ramesh called Modi a Bhamasur, which I don't know what the translation. I think roughly approximates to demon.
That's right.
Does it? Bhasmasur, sorry, Bhasmasur.
Bhasmasur is the word.
Yeah, and you defend the use of this kind of language. You defend the use of this kind of language, is it? We should expect more of this.
Yamdut. When I remember when they called him Yamdut, I said Yamdut is also Dharmaraj, and he is going to kill all the demons who are spreading the corruption in this country.
So I don't understand, Rajiv. You know, tell me, you take offense when Narendra Modi calls Rahul Gandhi Shehzada, but your party uses words like megalomaniac, psychopath, liar, faku, bhasmasur, demon.
Arnab, basically there is a coarsening and debasing of the political debate, and this is not something that our party really wants to promote. It is, a reaction when faced with extreme provocation. You know, at a recent Congress spokesperson's meeting, Rahul Gandhi came forth and said, stick to the truth, stick to the high ground, don't get provoked. So when we see some of our leaders making these statements, it must be under extreme provocation. You know, this business of trying to reduce the fight to a personality fight to calling people names is not anyway going to add that much more light.
But you've lost the right to take that kind of high moral position, Rajeev Gowda. When you use language like that, it's not colorful language. You may preach anything in your party spokesperson's meeting, but look at how you're practicing it on a daily basis. You are giving cannon fodder to all those people who criticize politicians for taking political discourse in our country to new lows. I mean, you cannot say one thing in your party spokesperson's meeting and use this like a language outside, and then be sensitive when somebody calls Rahul Gandhi a Shehzada.
No,
There are two aspects here. Arnab. One is a response to where the provocation is coming from. Say somebody like Devesh Chandra is on Twitter and he may be responding to the kinds of statements and attacks, the coarsening of debate on that medium. The second thing is the issue about Shehzada is that this is actually a very loaded, communally charged term. It's not something that's meant to just describe a person. It's actually aimed at sending a coded message.
What is the coded message?
And this is the sort of thing that we are trying to avoid.
What is the coded message?
We are not interested in this kind of language.
You agree?
Beg your pardon?
Mr. Gowda, Mr. Gowda, the fact remains that the Congress party today is faced with serious issues such as corruption, inflation, absolutely failure of the economic system of the country, etc., etc. And therefore, having no other choice, they've been resorting to tactics of weeping over comments made by the opposition or else calling the opposition names. Therefore, Mr. Gowda, you would like to camouflage your differences, your drawbacks and your misdoings by drawing such controversies, but the people of this country are smart enough to recognize your game plan and they'll give you a befitting reply.
Let's talk about the language. The problem is all of you preach. Let's talk about the language. I mean, I don't even want to repeat some of the things the Shiv Sena has said. I mean, I find it embarrassing, but I will say it today, right?
Please say it.
You have discovered
a history of provocative rhetoric which has resulted in...
I am sorry, Mr. Gowda, we believe in...
I don't want to go down that path.
We believe in...
Let me point out, Arnab, that the debate...
Walking the talk, and therefore we say what we believe.
Let him complete, Rahul.
Arnab, I have a question for Mr. Gowda.
Was again empty rhetoric.
I have a question for Mr. Gowda.
Please, waiting to listen to it. Go ahead. If the Congress party's history is to be seen, the only autocratic, undemocratic person this country has seen happens to be Mrs. Gandhi, who brought in emergency and abrogated the constitutional rights of people in this country. And the other connection of fascism lies in Mrs. Sonia Gandhi's father, who actually was a soldier in the Nazi army. Now, having these connections, what business has Manish Tiwari to call democratically elected people as fascists? Well, let me just point out, please leave people's family members who have nothing to do with India alone. Second, that just shows how we are coarsening the debate and cheapening this entire discourse. Let me now get to the other point. Who, recently, on the day when Modi was going to be anointed as the party leader, please, I'm not interrupting you, don't interrupt me, okay? Who dreamt about Hitler and Mussolini? It was L.K. Advani. Did we make a noise about it? Did we say L.K. Advani is dreaming about Hitler and Mussolini and the day Modi is being anointed? No, we didn't. We stayed away from that discourse, all right? So please, anything having to do with the emergency, we've already seen the people of India dealt with it, and the people of India re-elected Indira Gandhi in 1980 with a thumping majority. So that chapter is certainly closed. Everyone's learned their lesson from it. Okay, but Mr. Modi's behavior today is absolutely autocratic. There is nobody else who is involved in governance in Gujarat, and every leader of the BJP today is forced to kowtow to this one man who is the one basket in which all your eggs are. And that's what's going to be a challenge for you going forth. Let's see where things go.
No, but the point is, you think that the people of this country will get distracted with the use of language. I'd say have an aggressive debate. Have a very aggressive face-off, but have it on the economy, right? Have it on corruption.
Sure. Absolutely.
Sure.
Right. Have it on your attempts to take political parties out of the ambit of the Right to Information Act.
Have it.
No, have it out. I'd say have it out, but have it out on issues, for God's sake. Don't have it out on name calling. The kind of lowbrow name calling that your party Shiv Sena does. And I think Shiv Sena needs to be told a few things straight on its face. I mean, you describe, allow me to complete, Rahul Narvekar.
You need not know it, learn it from you or not.
You will allow me to complete.
Please.
KTR, I'm going to get you back on this in a minute. 1 second, KTR. Next question is to you and Devesh Chandra Thakur. By the way, I don't want to just, I have some quote of the Shiv Sena right here, according to which you describe the government as a government of eunuchs. Your party has referred to the government as a government of eunuchs repeatedly. More than, no, 1 second. Before you preach to Rajeev Gowda or anyone else, are you improving the quality of political discourse by calling a government a party, a government of eunuchs? I mean, come on, I'm sure you can do better than that.
Arnab, you'll give me
I'm sure you can do better than that.
Since you put your question quite clearly, give me an opportunity to answer it as well.
Repeatedly you use the word.
Which is appointed by the people, for the people, and works for everyone but for the people, is definitely a government of eunuchs. And this is the language.
What do you mean when you say government of eunuchs?
Language which the common man understands and which the common man.
So you'll use more of this
with regards to a government like the one we are facing today.
So you'll use more of this.
And therefore, I don't see anything objectionable in this.
Okay, so this is the kind of language that we should expect. So say it today on television. Say that we promise the people of this country. We should not
be debating the language. We should be debating the conduct of the government,
really,
which has been called these names.
I think we should be debating the language.
I think we should be debating
the language which you use.
We'll debate the language as well. But what's more important is the conduct of the government who has been called these names.
No, this is the habit of your party. In the 1995 assembly elections, Pawar described the Shiv Sena chief Balasaheb Thackeray as Shrimant Balasaheb, the epithet which was reminiscent of the decadent of the Peshwa rule in the 18th century. Not to be outdone, Thackeray described Pawar as a sack of maida, the derisive reference being to his portly frame. So you want to get personal. No, you made it personal in 1995, and you continue to make it very. You described Sonia Gandhi, and I quote, Uddhav Thackeray called Sonia Gandhi, quote, an imported leader who should be sent back to Italy.
But where is that far from the fact? She is an imported leader. There is no doubt about that. So I still hold to that.
So that's the relevant debate in our country. This is the debate level.
There is absolutely nothing objectionable in what you quoted.
Okay.
And this is the language.
Devesh Chandra Thakur and KTR.
And there is certainly nothing objectionable about this.
This is the language.
And if you think it is defamatory in any cause or any point, then you are free to take the word.
It's not a question of defamatory. It's a question of decent. It's a question of what is decent and what is indecent.
The standards of decency definitely cannot be judged and set by Congress party.
You are nobody.
Which has crossed every standard of decency. The kind of conduct they have held themselves in, the kind of attitude they've had towards the common man, the kind of corruption scandals they have indulged in, they cannot afford to talk about decency. So leave that alone.
Well, I think that, when you say, please be very careful when you say this is the language the common man understands. Do not think or fool yourself by thinking that this kind of language is the language of the common man. This is the language of the politician. It is not the language of the common man. This is the language of the Shiv Sena. It is not the language of the common man.
This is the frustration that is within the common man with regards to this government.
I'm going to open the phone calls tonight in a bit, and I'm going to ask people whether the people watching the Newshour tonight want this kind of language. I don't think so, but KTR, what do you think? Let's get KTR into the debate. Watching in from Hyderabad, what do you think? Because this is becoming the trend up to 2014.
A couple of things, Arnab, to begin with.
I want to add one more sentence.
After KTR, Meenakshi, after KTR.
Okay.
No, without an exception, I think all the political parties, be it national or regional, today cannot take a holier-than-thou posture, because we have all at some point or other have been accused of going overboard in our criticism. I see three reasons for this. One, to begin with, there is not much of a difference in terms of broad policy when it comes to Congress or BJP or any other party. When it comes to economy, defense, or the key sectors, there's not much of a difference in terms of policies. Therefore, what essentially it ends up being is more of a personality clash, between Narendra Modi, Rahul Gandhi, or the projected prime ministerial candidates across different parties, be it BJP, Congress, and other friends. So essentially what happens today is when we have 24-hour news channels feeding to the frenzy, there is a lot of mudslinging going on. There is a high decibel campaign and propaganda going on. But I can assure you one thing, the common man of India is smart enough to see through the propaganda.
Point.
And the vote...
No, you see KTR, I have two young leaders on the program.
Will happen on real issues.
No, watch it. KTR, you know, I have two young leaders on the program. You know, all of us, everyone's young. But anyway, relatively, I would say, you know, Rahul Narvekar is young and KTR is young. But two young leaders, on the one young leader sits here and says, this is the language that the common man should expect. Right? And the other young man in Hyderabad says that this is not the language the common man should expect. I don't know. Who are you to decide what the common man expects?
Mr. Arnab Goswami...
No, don't answer me. Answer KTR today because he's taken you on, please.
Mr. Arnab Goswami, you or anyone else who thinks any language used is objectionable, if you think it's objectionable, why do you go on about that language? That's the only
quote. What do you mean go on about that language?
That's the only quote in the entire speech that you'll pick up and play it for the rest of the day.
Of course we will pick it up.
Why can't you look at the other content?
You want that to be edited out.
So if you think that is
wrong, that to be edited
you are equally wrong in promoting that.